Hello and welcome to this edition of Business Spotlight, where I'm joined by Jenny Storey, who's the director of the Academy and Urban Retreat. Jenny, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me, everyone.
So, Jenny, tell us a bit about what the Academy is and Urban Retreat, please.
So Urban Retreat was my initial baby. I am a beauty therapist. I've been a beauty therapist for over 20 years now. When I had my first child, I decided to go out myself because I didn't want to be under the restraints of kind of salon and spa hours. So I wanted to be flexible around my first child. So Urban Retreat's really been going about now for around 15 years. The Academy came later on down the line after I had my second child and he went back to school or started school. I went to university and did my teaching degree because I wanted to then train in all the beauty and wellness sector. So that's where the kind of companies were born. I met my business partner, Kate. She was actually a client of mine through Urban Retreat.
Right.
After I completed my degree at university, I had seen the premises that we're in just now, but I didn't really want to take it on myself. It's such a big space, and to manage a whole bunch of people was a bit overwhelming at that time. So Kate's got a business background, so we joined forces and came together and expanded Urban Retreat, and that's when the Academy launched back in 2017.
Okay. And so the Urban Retreat is out in Cumbernauld, is that right? Where are you in Cumbernauld?
Yes, so it's a large salon in Cumbernauld which caters for everything all under one roof. So hair, beauty, holistics, aesthetics. All our girls are HND trained and above. Our aesthetic rental is a medic. So these things are really important to us. I'm sure we'll discuss going forward when it aligns with the Academy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so why did you start off in business in the first place? What made you want to do that? Because it's quite a bold move going out and starting your own business.
I think I've always been one of those people that strive to do more. And I do have such a passion for this industry as well. As I said, Urban is my baby, first and foremost, but then the Academy was built around my kind of university degree. I was in a college in my first couple of years under a mentorship and then doing a wee bit of work here and there. And I realised quite quickly that working in a college wasn't really the route I wanted to go down. There was a lot of politics involved and probably from my point of view, not enough teaching. So that's when I kind of looked into the private sector and started investigating a wee bit more about that. However, initially from the very beginning, when I left school at 16, again, I'm always one of those people, if someone tells me no or poo-poo something, then it gives me the fire in my belly.
You're going to go and do it. Yeah.
So I had an assistant head teacher of the high school I was at, and I remember him specifically asking me when he was signing my leavers sheet, where are you going? And I said, going on to college to do beauty, and he laughed in my face. So that's been the fire in my belly going forward.
Wow. And have you ever gone back and shown him or her what you're doing now?
Well, I think he's long gone out to school now, but it makes me feel better of where we're at now and how much we've kind of created. So
yeah,
and it's kind of sending a message out to younger girls in the industry that anything's possible.
Totally. I mean, I do a lot of work with my local school actually about the fact that, it doesn't matter if you come out with 5 A's or nothing. There is a path for everybody, particularly with starting your own business. So you're living testimony of that with not one but two successful businesses under your belt by the looks of things.
Yes.
So
grateful for that.
Urban Retreat clearly is very successful. You've been going 15 years. So what have been your learnings over that time in your business journey?
I think the hardest part is probably staff. We've got a team of 20 now, and they're fantastic, but obviously along those ways, so this is our 6th year in this building and expanding past the stage of me just having Urban. That's been a huge learning curve with kind of team members coming and going, and some team members probably not the right fit for us. However, we do really have such an amazing team now, and they've all been here for quite a number of years now as well, because they're quite settled. They're very invested in this place as well. We've got a great client base. I think the biggest realisation as well over time is delegating and letting go a wee bit, because you become such a control freak of how you want things done, and because it's been built from the bottom up and the amount of hard work and years and effort you've put into it, you want it to sustain that reputation.
And you know, it's something I hear often about teams, but how do you get them invested then? How have you gone about, you know, moving from it being transient with people leaving to actually having a body of people that want to stay and work for you? Was that natural, or did you do something specific?
Do you know, we have a slogan, as cheesy as it might sound, it's your vibe attracts your tribe. And we're very much like that. We're not all the same. We're quite different in our personalities in here, but we all work really well together. We're all mums in here as well, so we realise that, Kate and I realise the balance of home life and work life is so important to keep people happy as well. Paying their worth, which is hard in this industry because it's such not a very well paid industry. And giving incentives as well. So obviously, because we have the training school, we do a lot of progression for the girls. So quite a number of our team are now trainers, because we deliver the trainer qualification through the academy. So we offer a lot of progression within their career, whether it be moving up within the salon or transitioning into the academy as well and doing a wee bit of both. And we give lots of opportunities we've got a really good kind of network of friends in the industry, so whatever kind of floats their boat as well, we kind of cater to. So we kind of deal with some clients that are maybe in the public eye. So a lot of girls really like doing the kind of celebrity style clients and stuff like that. So it just really depends on what they like doing. So we try and cater to that.
Sounds good. So you've been very diplomatic there, Jenny, with the people in the public eye. I'll ask no more. So before we go on to talk about the academy, one other thing you said there that's piqued my interest is about the loyal client base. You know, it's always hard to get new customers, isn't it? But it sounds like you've done a really good job on keeping the ones that you've got. How do you go about doing that then?
So I started off when we opened in here with my own client base, which was around 100, 150 clients, and we now have over 4,000, which is phenomenal. I think we've just built that reputation up in the area of being the salon with ethics, and to give the full customer journey from the moment that they're met and greeted by front of house to the moment that they meet their therapist or hairdresser, and then the kind of meeting of key concerns. And the team really care about their clients as well. There becomes almost like a friendship there with their clients, and the clients really do trust our judgment, because we would never missell them anything. It would always be, if it's a product that's recommended or a treatment that's recommended, it's for their benefit. It's not just to make money.
Okay, and it sounds like ethics is really important to you, which isn't something that, you know, you might always associate with your industry. And you touched also on about people are, you know, the people that come in to do your treatments are medically qualified. So you know, why is that important to you?
So within our industry as well, there's a kind of grey area over regulation, which is gradually changing over time, thankfully, and hopefully within the next 18 months, we'll see that transition there. I was very fortunate to be asked into Parliament last month to see a new initiative through BABTAC, which is TIME, and it's basically about you educating your staff to educate clients, to ask, do you have the relevant qualifications? Do you have the relevant insurance? Can I see these things? We're an open book in here. You can absolutely see them, just so you get that peace of mind of who's working on them. There's girls out in the industry that go and do training within England to do, say, aesthetics, and it's a one-day course. They've got no prior knowledge of a medical background. What if someone takes an anaphylactic shock in their bed? How are they going to treat that? They can't. So it's very important to me that if there's somebody in here doing those procedures, they need to be medically trained and have some sort of medical background in case something like that happens.
You hear some scare stories, don't you?
often. So, and I think that's where the misconceptions of this industry lie, about people being stupid, and that's why they're in this job role, or all these botched jobs out here. It becomes an area that we're disregarded as an industry, but we're actually, I think it's over £34 billion a year we bring to the economy. So it's not to be poo-pooed. We're becoming more regulated within the industry, and this is what we're really striving towards. So yes, ethics is very important to us, because we want to stand at the forefront of that when it is actually becoming a regulated centre.
It's really nice to hear, actually, because I've not certainly personally come across anyone in your industry who's actually striving for that, and actually is, carrying the beacon for regulation, and actually making it ethical, and making it an open book, as you say. So
it's lost a lot of business along the way. It really has. And even sometimes we work along in the academy with some big spas now. We train some big spas, and unfortunately, even the kind of education side of some of the people, maybe from HR department and these spas, don't understand the difference in certifications and what these girls can actually do and what they're insured to do. Yeah. So yes, if they don't meet our criteria of pre-requirements for the academy, we just won't do them. So, and it's caused a lot of upset along the way, but we stick to where our ethics lie.
You stand by your guns. Yeah. So tell us about the academy then. That was born after your second child. You did your degree. Yeah. What was your vision with that?
So again, initially I thought stable job. Once I transition out the beauty down tools for a while, there's only so long I felt I could be doing treatments within the industry. My initial thought process was I'll go and get a lecturer's job in a college. And then when I did that over time, I just really didn't enjoy it. Colleges have changed from where they were from when I was at college. So when I was at college, you didn't get spoon-fed through your course. If you didn't study and you didn't pass, you had a couple more goes and you were kicked out the course if you didn't maintain that level of study. Nowadays, unfortunately, for funding, I don't know how popular I'll be by saying this, but for attainment levels, it is pretty much spoon-feeding students through their course to pass.
Oh, right, okay.
Just to keep the course running and people in their jobs, which I understand that part as well for lecturers, but it's just not something I wanted to be a part of. Again, I think from that industry background of people laughing at you for being stupid or whatever going along the way, I wanted girls to get the best education they could in this industry and have that power of knowledge going forward, so they could knock down any barriers in their way.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So how big is the academy now? Where is it? What kind of?
So we're in Cumbernauld. We're all in the same building. We've got a really big premises. So the academy is one part of the premises that we have. However, we do go out and train within spas as well. So we've trained some of the biggest spas in the UK. We've trained Turnberry just this year. We've done St Andrews Old Course, Sobel Castle, Glen Eagles. We've done Kilgorman, Ireland. We've done St David's down south. We've done the Connaught in London. So one of our girls is actually in Cornwall just now training at the Cowshed in St Moritz Hotel. And so
that sounds great.
Out there. Yes. So it's nice working along with some big prestigious spas as well, and building those nice relationships and knowing that going forward you've done a good job, and because those spas then come back to us for more training as well. So it's nice building those relationships.
You must have a brilliant reputation. I mean, some of the names you spat out there, people would give their right arm to be associated with.
We try. This time 5-6 years ago, honestly, it's terrible. You never celebrate your wins, do you? So we were actually talking the other day there, we need to get better at that, because this time 6 years ago, we just wouldn't have believed where we are at this moment in time. So we do really need to pause at times and recognise the hard work and dedication that's been in.
Totally. And so what have been some of the challenges that you faced up until this point? What have been the biggest challenges in business, do you think?
I think it is the whole regulation point of view, and again, when you're working with some big names and they're kind of pushing you forward to doing training and their staff, you don't want to upset anyone, but at the same time, you're just not willing to be detrimental to your own reputation that you're starting to build. So that's been challenging. We've been really fortunate with the people that we've worked with along the way as well, and the relationships that we've built. So it's a nice kind of community out the beauty and wellness industry. So again, 5-6 years ago when we started, we were just a fish out of water. But now when you're kind of networking events, you're knowing people and you can have discussions, and it's just nice. It's becoming like friendly relationships now. The challenges along the way is working with different learners that have different barriers, but then that's the whole point in having a good teaching qualification behind you, because then you're equipped to deal with that.
Yeah.
If we actually only work with small classes, again, that's something that we decided to go with forward. So maximum of our classes will be 6 people, because we just feel as if they need to have that better one-to-one time with their trainer. And we're facing a lot of kind of learning barriers these days as well, because people are getting diagnosed now when they didn't years ago. So,
yeah.
And we need to cater to that so the candidate can retain their information going forward. So yeah, there's a lot of work behind the scenes of building upon our student theory manuals, our mock assessments, our PowerPoints to cater all different learning barriers, so it reaches everybody and everybody understands all the underpinning knowledge before they even do the practical stage.
Yeah. I mean, it really shines through how much you care about your clients and your team, and actually making sure you do the right thing by the person. You know, that shines through. So think about the next 5 years in the industry. What changes do you think are going to be happening in the industry, and you know, what might you need to do to adapt to any changes there?
So the definite changes that's on its way in the next 18 months, which we found out during the BABTEC conference, is becoming more regulated. So again, the people that have done courses and don't have the correct pre-requirements will then need the correct pre-requirements going forward to become insurable and recognised in the industry for jobs going forward, which is something that's been so important to us for years, and we've just been waiting for this moment to come. Thankfully, we've got all our ducks in a row, so it won't actually implicate us much, because we've already got our standards in place and our team already have the correct qualifications in place. What I do like going forward is the education authorities are now seeing that even some of the girls that have had the training that perhaps hasn't been the right certification. So some people in the industry say it's a qualification or an accreditation, but if it's not Ofqual regulated and doesn't run by the National Occupational Standards, it's not a qualification. Accreditations as well can be a bit grey depending on which broker it's through. So an accreditation is under the watchful eye of an insurance company rather than being a qualification, and that's more for people in the industry that are doing continuous professional development. So it's CPD for them, so it's not really for a new starter to the industry. It's just for them to gain more skill set and knowledge within the industry. So again, people really need to watch with who they're going and what accreditation it is behind them. So yes, going forward, I'm going off on a tangent now. I'm trying to think of the question that you initially asked.
I was interested to understand what's changing in the industry moving forward in the next few years, and what might you need to do or adapt in order to accommodate that.
So again, what the educational system is now looking at is those that perhaps have done a certification that isn't recognised, but if they've gained such a good skill set and they can deliver the procedure, we're looking just to bridge the gap. So whatever they've fallen short of, say it's anatomy and physiology or like the actual theory-based stuff, they'll go through a brief assessment of a tick box to see where they're at with their practical. If they need a wee bit more help, they'll have to do the whole qualification again. If they've got that understanding and they're doing everything which aligns with health and safety, the anatomy and physiology, the national occupational standards, they'll get ticked off for that part, but they'll just need to do the underpinning knowledge part. So it'll cost less for them to do, but they'll receive the recognised qualification at the end of it. So this is something that we're going to be starting to put in place of how does that work? What's the tick box? What is the requirements that we need to look out? So you need to align with your awarding body with that and see where these we can bridge the gap and see where these differences lie and who we can put forward for a full qualification and who can just do the latter part of the underpinning knowledge.
It sounds like you're really on the front foot with this and really forward thinking. Do you think there'll be some salons or people in the industry who just won't make the cut, and actually we'll see some people maybe going out of business or having to move somewhere else because they're not up for the qualifications or they're not at the right standard?
I think when people initially go for a teaching qualification, and again, it depends on where they do this, because there are some online courses that run as a teaching qualification and they don't get the correct training behind it, because there's still some trainers who have that basis qualification and then they don't even understand how to read a syllabus. So we think it's really important. I actually went to university and nobody showed me how to read a syllabus. I self-taught. So it's something that we implement into our awarded education course, because it's really important to go forward and teach in a class. So people that have thought they've done the right qualification and perhaps have, but just maybe haven't had a great deal of training behind that, would really struggle going forward. However, we are looking to put on some workshops for people to, again, bridge that gap. And if they've got the correct qualification but don't really know how to go forward and deliver their own training course, because there's room for everybody. We're all about collaboration over competition. So we are more than happy to do workshops to show people where the difference lies and how they can make those steps going forward. And then you just get the people out there that's just a business and they're looking to make money, and those are the ones I truly believe that aren't going to succeed going forward, because they're not going to have that reputation behind them. And students are going to be more educated going forward and what to look for when they're doing their training and where they want to invest their money.
Yeah, okay. And so what's the vision for Urban Retreat in the Academy then? You know, what do the next few years hold for you?
Urban Retreat, we've always thought in mind that we would maybe branch out. However, we do kind of run ourselves thin at times. We do have managers, but there is an element of us still overseeing everything. So I don't know how much time we'll have to that. So it's maybe something later in the future, once everything's a bit more streamlined, we can look to open another Urban Retreat. But to be honest, it's fulfilled my expectations at the moment. So it's ticking away really nicely. We're hoping to get some more members of staff because we've got waiting lists for clients. So, which is amazing, because we do realise how fortunate we are in this kind of climate that some businesses aren't managing to stay open. So we do count our blessings every day for that. For the Academy, we probably will branch out into smaller branches across the UK. So there's less of our trainers flying to different places, and there can be an actual station there that they can train from going forward. We won, so our awarding body is CIBTAC, and we won the best CIBTAC centre of the world last year. So we're up in some amazing countries, Indonesia, Bali. So we're striving to hold that status.
That's amazing. Well done.
If we don't win again, we're so proud that we got there after 5 years in business. So yeah, we're definitely aiming to constantly be at the top of our game.
So you should be. I mean, it's amazing. You've done wonderful things by the sounds of things. You're not far from where I live, actually, so you might see me dropping in with a reputation like that. If you were to give somebody advice then, if they're starting out in business, or if they're in business at the moment and listening to this, you're really successful, you're established, what advice would you give somebody who's maybe, not as far on in their journey as you are?
Surround yourself with good people. Don't look at negative things in social media. Don't compare yourself to others in social media, because it's smoke and mirrors. What I kind of say to my learners is, if they're always on social media, unfollow accounts that don't make you feel good. Only follow accounts that make you want to be better and give you ideas for your own business going forward, because any business, it doesn't have to be within the beauty and wellness industry. You can flip it into your own business, you can tweak it and how it's going to work for your business to implement in. Always trust your gut instinct. I've always followed my gut instinct and it's never been wrong.
Yeah.
And just don't be afraid to ask people. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Someone tells you no, or if someone's maybe doesn't have enough time to answer your question, go on and ask someone else. There's always someone out there that's willing to help you and give you a wee bit of advice. So don't be scared to ask questions.
Sound advice from a very successful businesswoman. Jenny, thank you very much for joining us today on Business Spotlight. It was a delight to hear from you and your successes so far, and wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you so much for having me.